We're in one of our seedling gardens that we just planted here this last fall, and we're just putting the roof on. It's the spring of 2015 and the plants are just starting to come up. And we thought it would be interesting to maybe do some video clips throughout the growing season that we'll post on our website every few weeks, just so you can get an idea how the crop's progressing throughout the year. If you want to take a look here, these are the seedling plants coming up. As you can see, they're just starting to poke through. Seedlings are very small. We plant them from seed, and we normally plant in the fall of the year, and then the following spring is when they germinate. An interesting thing about ginseng is that the ginseng seed takes 18 months for it to germinate. So the seed that we plant was actually harvested 18 months ago. It's then put in sand for a year process, what we call the stratification process, then planted in the fall and then the following spring that it comes up. So the seed that we picked last fall off of our gardens is actually what we'll be planting this coming fall and will germinate and sprout the following spring. As you can see, we tend to plant the ginseng in what we call beds here, and the main reason is that ginseng can't take a lot of moisture. So we try to plant them in the beds so that if we do get a heavy rain, a lot of the rain will run into what we call the paths or the gutters and run out of the gutters. It does take some moisture, but you want to make sure that it's never submerged in the water for any period of time. You can also see that when we plant, we put on what we call a layer of straw, and that straw mulch is used for a couple things. One is that it'll hold back the weeds. We don't have any type of herbicide that we use on ginseng, so during the summer we'll go through and we will end up weeding the gardens here, pulling any of the broadleaf weeds. So it tends to hold back some of the weeds from coming through. Another reason is to protect the ginseng seed when it's planted. Ginseng seed cannot dry out. If it actually dries out, it'll kill the seed. So when we plant, we make sure there's enough moisture in the ground, and then putting the straw mulch over the top will hold the moisture during that fall and then throughout the winter, and then subsequent winters it helps protect the ginseng root from any type of what we call freeze out. You can see above us here is the shade structure that we use in the ginseng gardens, and a little bit we'll show you a clip of when we were actually putting the sections up. But you can see we put posts in the ground here, and then we'll put either metal or wood riders or beams across that support the sections that we use to provide the shade. Ginseng in its native habitat grows in the hardwood forests here in our area. So what we're doing in the cultivated gardens is basically simulating the conditions that we have in the woods where ginseng grows natively as a wild ginseng. The straw provides the leaf cover that the trees drop each fall, and the shade will provide the shade provided by the hardwood trees. So you can see this is what we call one of our seedling gardens here, the new garden that was planted. They're coming up. The seedlings will only get about 2 to 3 inches tall throughout the summer, and then each fall the ginseng plants will go dormant and die back. The following year they'll go ahead and send up a new plant. So what we'll do now is we'll take a little break here. We'll walk over to some of our older gardens and show those as they're coming up now also. Okay, now we just moved into one of our older gardens here. Each year we plant ginseng, so we have ginseng growing each subsequent year. So each year we harvest, each year we plant. So we have some ages throughout the year, or every year. These plants here are some of the mature plants now. If you want to take a look at them, you can see that they're obviously going to be a lot bigger. They're just coming up. These plants will probably end up being around 18 to 20 inches tall by the time they reach maturity this summer. You can also see something interesting on the ginseng plant here. I'm not sure if you can zoom in here. You can actually start to see the development of the seed head. As I said, the ginseng is planted from seed that we harvest off the mature plants. And these seed heads, in about 3 weeks or so, they'll begin to blossom, very white, small white flowers. And then you've probably seen pictures of mature ginseng plants that have the red berries on. That is what's going to develop into those red berries. Inside the red berries are the seed that we'll harvest then, that we'll use to plant. As I said in the previous clip there with the seedlings, ginseng goes dormant each fall, so these plants here have come up now from the root that was there. You can see the older stems that were left from last year here. And you can also see a little bit of straw. We don't have as much straw on these because over the years the straw just kind of deteriorate and rot away. But we still have some protection throughout the winter. So that kind of gives you an idea here. You can pan across, you can see some of the other gardens here. Kind of a mixture of ages, some seedlings way on the other end also. We tend to plant, and depending on how the land lays there, you have to plant it so that you can get drainage out of the garden. So if there's a little dip or something, we'll plant a smaller garden. And then just so you make sure you have the water can drain out of the gardens throughout the year.